February, Australian troops have been pressing against enemy defenses at Salamoa. Then came the American landing at Nassau Bay, where the doughboys joined forces with the diggers and launched an assault on Mount Tambu and Roosevelt Ridge. The Americans quickly established themselves and, with Aussie gunners, turned on New Guinea's hottest artillery barrage to date. Japs are foxholed throughout that rugged country, but life has suddenly become very unpleasant for them. The doughboys took Roosevelt Ridge like Grant took Richmond. Parties are mopping up the positions. Japanese held up to half an hour ago. The long campaign against Salamoa is culminating, and the township finally fell to militiamen who swam a river to get to it. First move in a strategic masterpiece was the landing of men of the famous 9th Division behind the enemy's positions at Lae. A big convoy of invasion ships and barges, strongly protected by units of the American Navy, steams up the coast. Cameraman Bill Carty goes with them to get a hot story. Diggers refuse to let the imminence of a battle affect their appetite. In the early morning light, the convoy heads in towards Red Beach, the appointed landing area. American destroyers open up on the beach to clear a way for the invading troops. There go the barges. Navy shells burst along the shoreline as the vessels go in. But there's little opposition from the beach. Jap planes. Belatedly, a few appear in an endeavor to counter the landing, but they're not in the hunt, and 3 out of 6 go flaming down into the ocean. Casualties were few and damage to ship's flight. Packed with diggers spoiling for a fight, they haven't seen the real thing since Alamein, the barges dash for the beach. Many are manned by American crews, and Aussies were loud in their praises of the work of American Navy men. Up on the beach, but there's no withering fire from the jungle. What Japs were there are going hell for leather for Lae. Transport presents super problems, but Army engineers tackle the job with a customary aplomb and bad language. But bridge building in a spot like that would bring the worst out in a Puritan, and Army engineers aren't Puritans. Very heavy guns were put ashore as a headache for the Nips. They proved to be a backache for the Aussies. But diggers swore louder and pushed harder, and the big berthers went into position. Using the beach as a roadway at low tide had its disadvantages, but the beach was better than the jungle, despite frequent boggings. The ubiquitous Jeep took all obstacles in its stride. Well, what do you know? Or am I wrong? No, you can't keep a good Jeep down. Lae lies on that distant flat. Offshore, American PT boats skim over a placid sea in tireless patrol. These ships have done outstanding work in the Solomons, and more will undoubtedly be heard of them in the New Guinea campaign. Biggest surprise to the enemy must have been the sudden appearance of a strong force in the Markham Valley. American paratroops captured the area, and a landing strip was prepared. Roy Driver's camera told that epic story, and now carries on to complete the chapter. Transport planes in droves bring in Aussies of the 7th Divvy. Lads who haven't seen much of the limelight, but who are certainly in it now. They bring not only men, but all the munitions of war, even earth-moving machines and tractors, with which the temporary airstrip is being rapidly enlarged. This was enemy territory only a few days ago. Anxious to get the lay of the land. The front is pushing steadily towards the Japanese stronghold, and although opposition is met, it's quickly overcome. They're giving the jungle a miss temporarily, but the mud's still with them. It's no road for Sunday drivers, but there's still one of them left. They have a Jap strong post under fire while patrols probe forward. machine gun known to the troops as the Woodpecker, and one of the men who manned it. Flying fortresses continue to put down the heavy stuff, while Jap ack-ack bursts around them. The Markham Valley Force had to delay its entry into Leh until the Air Force finished giving the town a final doing over. Only in war is death passed by. Leh, once a thriving tropical township, now a shambles of smashed buildings and dead Japanese. The damage inflicted by the Allied Air Force is very evident. The 7th won the race and entered Leh an hour or so before the men advancing from Red Beach. They found nothing but ruins and few Japanese alive. The ring of steel thrown round the enemy's stronghold had squeezed the life out of the defenders. Japanese light ack-ack gun. Diggers interestedly try out many types of enemy artillery. A soldier rescued the native child after its mother had been killed by the Japanese. It was later sent to safety. The airfield is a scene of vast destruction. Again, the work of American and RAAF pilots. They made a job of Leh, all right. More than 60 shattered and burnt-out wrecks of Japanese planes are strewn over this field. Mute testimony to the accuracy of strafing and bombing raids. A Jap transport that didn't get away. Wreckage of Jap barges strew the waterfront, while some are discovered to be undamaged. With the show over, the troops whoop it up, and a grand time is being had by all. It's a party in the King's Cross mood, without the blondes, or the bottles for that matter. But Rachmaninoff was there, and the Happy Warrior. The Souvenir Kings had a field day. What a bunch of Japanese junk Dad and Mum and Sister Nell are going to have dumped in their laps when these lads get near a mailbag. The Australian Army, with its American allies, has done another grand job. And once more the Southern Cross floats over Leh and Salamur.